This video may contain offensive language or be frightening to some viewers. Viewer discretion is recommended. Jeff the Killer. Changes. As soon as Jeff stepped foot in the new neighbourhood, he knew his family didn't belong there, but he seemed to be the only one who noticed. His older brother Lou went along like nothing had changed, and his parents acted like this new move was the best thing that had ever happened to the family. And to make things worse, every second Jeff spent in this place seemed to grind at him. Even hearing the distant sounds of kids playing outside made his stress level rise. He shut his window and went downstairs, only to be greeted by his mother's painfully cheery face. She announced that she had accepted a very special invitation. The whole family was going to attend a birthday party at the neighbours that weekend. She just knew that Jeff and his brother would make great friends with the birthday boy. Jeff rubbed the back of his neck. He felt like something was pulling at him. He walked slowly back up to his room and lay on the floor until dinner, staring at the ceiling. The fight. The next morning, Jeff and his brother sat on the curb waiting for the school bus to come. They heard a sound behind them, and suddenly a kid on a skateboard jumped over them, only inches from their laps. The boy skidded to a stop, and several other boys lined up behind him. He said his name was Randy, and he quickly made things clear. He was the leader of a group of bullies, and every morning they go around the neighbourhood taking money from kids before the bus arrives. Now, for all the kids in this neighbourhood, there is a small price for the bus fare, if you catch my drift. Jeff and Lou glanced at each other. They agreed they wouldn't go along with it. But while Lou answered Randy, one of the other bullies darted behind him and snatched his wallet, throwing it to Randy and laughing. It was at this point that Jeff did something that surprised even himself. He jumped right in Randy's face and demanded the wallet back. Randy frowned deeply, obviously not used to anyone talking to him that way. He pushed Jeff back, and the sharp click of a switchblade sounded only inches from Jeff's eye. What happened next, Jeff could not explain, other than to say that he suddenly felt superhuman powers surge through him. In one smooth move, he punched Randy in the face, then took the knife. He then turned to the bullies and demolished them, one by one, even stabbing one of the boys in the arm he'd used to take Lou's wallet. Jeff stood tall as the bullies writhed on the ground. But then he heard the sound of the school bus coming. Jeff and Lou immediately started to run, knowing that the other kids would lie and blame them for the whole thing. The birthday party. But there was no running away from what happened later that night. The police came knocking at their door. As they questioned Jeff, Lou suddenly charged down the stairs and yelled that it was him who attacked the kids. Jeff couldn't believe what he was hearing, what had come over his brother. He protested that it couldn't have been Lou, but Lou showed the knife as proof that it was him, and that was that. The police didn't even give them time to say goodbye. They just took Lou out to their police car and drove off. Now Jeff was completely alone, with no one to help take his mind off his strange thoughts. The weekend came, and Jeff's mother danced into his room, chirping that it's the day. He couldn't believe that she expected him to still go to the birthday party after everything that had just happened with Lou, but she insisted, following him around and nagging him that he needed to wear his nicest clothes. He didn't have anything particularly dressy to wear, so he grabbed his nicest white hoodie and hoped that that would be enough. At the party, Randy and his gang showed up, of course. They were there to get even with Jeff, and nothing was going to stop them. They backed Jeff into a corner of the kitchen, while everybody else was outside, watching the birthday boy open presents. Randy was the first to attack, stabbing Jeff in the shoulder and kicking him in the face over and over. Jeff was able to push past Randy, but one of the other boys tripped him, grabbing a bottle of vodka and smashing it to pieces over his head. As he lay on the floor, each of the bullies took turns kicking and taunting him, laughing obnoxiously. It was the laughing that pushed him past his limit. Something snapped inside his mind, and he slowly made himself get up to face the bullies. An insane altercation broke out, with Jeff killing Randy and then being chased into an upstairs bathroom by two of the other bullies. They hit the wall hard, and a container of bleach was knocked off, falling onto them and soaking into Jeff's skin. Jeff felt his newfound superpower surging through him again, and used his incredible strength to overpower the bullies. But as a last act, one of the bullies took out a lighter and ignited the vodka, covering Jeff's head. He ran screaming out of the bathroom, stumbling down the stairs, and passed out in the kitchen. Go to sleep. Oh honey, I have great news. After all the witnesses told the police that Randy confessed to trying to attack you, they decided to let Lou go, Jeff's mother told him while he was in the hospital. Jeff spent the next few weeks in the hospital, hooked up to machines, with his face wrapped in white bandages. When it came time to take the bandages off, his whole family gathered around him for support. No one knew what the true extent of the damage to his face was, but everyone was hoping for the best. He held his breath as the last of the bandages fell to the floor and looked around to his family to see what they thought. His mother screamed and started to shake. Not good. He looked to his father and brother, but they just had blank looks on their face. No one said a word to him. He ran to the bathroom to look in the mirror for himself. It was a horror show. His lips were burned to an angry red colour, but the skin on his face was stark white. He ran his fingers gently across his cheek. It had a strange, inhuman texture to it. It was then that his brother came to the door of the bathroom. "Jeff," Lou said. "It's not that bad." "Not that bad," said Jeff. "It's perfect." Jeff heard a strange noise inside his head. like the buzzing of bees, and he couldn't stop laughing. His parents were disturbed, but the doctor explained his strange behaviour away, saying it was simply shock and the painkillers. The doctor advised his parents to take him home to rest, and if his behaviour didn't stabilise in a week or so, to come back. That night, Jeff's mother awoke to the sound of someone crying in the bathroom. When she looked in, she saw that Jeff was in there and that he had carved a gruesome smile into his face. Jeff looked over to his mother. "I couldn't keep smiling, Mummy. It hurt after a while, but now I can smile forever." Jeff's mother noticed his eyes ringed in black. "Jeff, your eyes!" His eyes were seemingly never closing. "I couldn't see my face. I got tired and my eyes started to close. I burned out my eyelids so I could forever see myself, my new face." Jeff's mother backs away and he asks her, "What's wrong, Mummy? Aren't I beautiful?" Her voice was shaky, but she told him sure, he was beautiful, and that she wanted to get his dad to come see too. But when she got into the bedroom, she frantically shook her husband and told him to get the gun. Behind her, she suddenly heard Jeff's accusing voice. "You lied, Mummy." Jeff rushed towards the bed with a knife in hand and murdered them both. Lou startled awake from hearing a strange noise, but when he moved his head out of the blanket to listen, he didn't hear anything. As he fell back asleep, he got a weird feeling that someone was watching him. It was Jeff. He held a knife in one hand, and while Lou looked at it, he used the other hand to cover Lou's mouth. "Shh," said Jeff softly. "Just go to sleep." The last thing that Lou saw was Jeff's psychotic face looming over him. Now Jeff the killer is on the loose, murdering people as they fall asleep. The few victims who have escaped say that they woke up to Jeff standing over them with a knife in hand, smiling his bloody smile. Remember what you were like before you met me? That's what I was like. Lonely, depressed, so sad I couldn't eat candy. Jill flicks her arm and candy slides out from her sleeve. Mary, just say the word and we can be together forever, with none of these idiots to keep us apart. Jill, I can... Bang!